Pass on file. File item 19, Senator Roth. Pass on file. File item 20, Senator Gaines. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 807 by Senator Gaines, enacting to unmanned aircraft systems.
Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Today I bring you Senate Bill 807. This bill would create civil immunity for emergency responders who damage a drone which is interfering with firefighting, air ambulance, and search and rescue operations. Over the course of last year's drought-heightened fire season, private unauthorized drones repeatedly halted firefighting efforts. The simple presence of these drones forced firefighters to ground mission-critical tanker aircraft unnecessarily, putting pilots, firefighters, civilians, and property at risk. Additionally, there have been multiple accounts of drones almost colliding with planes and helicopters, including an air ambulance transporting a patient to the hospital, putting the patient and medical personnel at risk. In these emergency situations, interfering drones must be quickly removed from the sky. However, without an explicit civil immunity, emergency responders are fearful of lawsuits for doing so. Through the creation of civil immunity, Senate Bill 807 will help keep rogue drones from interfering in emergency situations and from preventing the most effective response to time-sensitive crises. This bill has no opposition, has wide support, including from DJI, the world's largest drone manufacturer. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Gaines. Any debate or discussion on this item? Any debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting the unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 37, no 0. The measure passes. Senator De Leon. Colleagues, if we could all take our seats, please. Attention to Senator De Leon. Senator De Leon.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Colleagues, I am very proud to introduce our distinguished guests here with us today. We have Mexico's Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Claudia Ruiz Massieu, the newly appointed Mexican ambassador to the United States, Carlos Sada, as well as I believe we have the Consul General to Sacramento, Alejandra Garcia Williams, who has been just appointed with the title of ambassador as well. And also just coming from Dublin, Ireland, he was a former ambassador to Ireland, has been called back to the United States of America to be the Consul General to replace Carlos Sada in Los Angeles. Secretary Ruiz Massieu was appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs just last August, 2015. She has extensive background as a public servant and as well as an academic, including as a professor of constitutional law and contemporary legal systems at the University of Anáhuac. She was first elected to the House of Representatives, the Mexican Congress, back in 2003, and once again in 2009. And previous to her latest appointment, she was, in fact, the Secretary of Tourism. So if you've been to the beautiful beaches of Tulum and Quintana Roo, she's the woman responsible for all that white powder sand and that blue turquoise, ocean. She ordered it to happen right there. Ambassador Sada is no stranger to California, having graciously served as Consul General in the city of Los Angeles. And prior to his appointment as ambassador, and I consider him a great friend, and I'm very excited to continue working with him to improve the lives of immigrants here in the United States, as well as immigrants, as well as American U.S. citizens in the Republic of Mexico. And a handful of our colleagues here on the Senate floor are already familiar with him because he accompanied us to Mexico last year. Now, more than 11 million people of Mexican origin reside in the state of California, and the California Senate has worked deliberately to promote the social, the economic, as well as the civic inclusion of the state's immigrant population. But beyond the issue of immigration, it is critical that California, as well as Mexico, continue to actively collaborate and find ways to bring mutual benefits to our communities on both sides of the border. Now, we know that our southern neighbor plays a key role in our very own prosperity as the 7th largest economy on planet Earth. Now, last year, California exported to more than 229 foreign markets. 229 foreign markets. But despite this export diversity, Mexico continues to be California's number one export market. And that has been the case since 1999. That is close to 2 decades, 17 years consecutively as the number one exporter for the great state of California. Now, Mexico also purchases 16.2% of all California imports, and Mexican imports account for more than 10% share of total imports to California. So roughly, we send about $24 billion to the Republic of Mexico. Mexico, in their importations, send roughly about $42 to $44 billion. So without question, the state of California and our neighbor to the south, we are intimately binded to each other, both economically as well as culturally. These are facts that are very important to highlight because they demonstrate the interconnectivity of our two economies and the importance of promoting a strong relationship between California and Mexico. Our histories, our people, our geography, our economies are intimately linked. And by recognizing and embracing these ties, we create opportunities for mutual prosperity. My colleagues, both Democrats as well as the Republicans of the great state Senate of the great state of California, please join me in welcoming the great Honorable Her Excellency, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Claudia Ruiz Massieu.
Welcome, welcome to our very distinguished guest.
Madam President, I know that at a personal privilege, we're going to allow a few moments for Her Excellency to share a few words with our colleagues here on the Senate floor. And I believe, in my understanding, there was a few of our colleagues who wanted to share a few words. I want to permit that right now before we actually allow her the opportunity. I think it was Senator Hall at his desk.
Without objection.
Yes, Madam President and members, I too join our pro tem in recognizing Her Excellency and also Ambassador for their great work and contribution helping to unite both California and Mexico and our partnership and relationships, our trade. And I can actually tell you that when we visited a delegation here to Mexico, it was because of you that we were received in Mexico so well by the government of Mexico. And again, I am honored to say that I know great people doing great things to help unite both California and Mexico to be a greater union together. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Hueso, followed by Senator Huff, and then Senator Fuller.
Thank you, Madam President. As the Vice Chair of the California Legislative Latino Caucus, I wanted to extend a warm welcome to Her Excellency to California. Thank you for visiting our state, and I hope this is a continued statement that California and Mexico want to continue to work together to work toward our combined prosperity. We understand in California that California and Mexico are linked, and by working together, both of our respective communities will improve and have improved prosperity and an improved quality of life. And that requires a dialogue, that requires working together, and I really appreciate you being here to extend a hand in that effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Hueso. Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam President, members. Many of you know I was born in the border city of Calexico, and in the Imperial Valley, we knew that our relationship with Mexico was important. Of course, we thought it was just local. I was privileged to join the first Senate delegation to Mexico several years back that was led by numerous leaders, including Darrell Steinberg, and the pro tem was there, as well as Lou Correa, who's heading the select committee. But it was as we went down there to Mexico City, to the power of government, the center of government, that it really became aware how close we were, not just in heritage, because we are, not just in economy, because we are, but there are so many connections between our two countries. It's no wonder that they are our #1 trading partner. We are inextricably intertwined. and will be forever. And so I respect everything in our relationship as it's grown over the years and welcome you to the chamber. And it's a privilege to be working closely with our #1 trading partner and neighbor.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Fuller, followed by Senator Lara and Senator Lara. Excuse me, Senator Lara and Senator Block. Senator Fuller.
A warm welcome to you. We're very, very glad that we have you with us today and the sharing that we can all gain from one another. We are also very, very glad that we have a neighbor country who works hard to be our friends and who shares all of the trade and the economic benefits as well as the security positions. These are hard issues for all of us, but we really appreciate you being here, and we're really glad that you're coming to us, that we can work together with you and make our world a better place. Thank you very, very much for being here today.
Thank you, Senator Fuller. Senator Lara, I'm sorry, we'll start with Senator Nguyen. I didn't see your mic. Senator
Thank you,
Nguyen.
Madam President. I just, on behalf of the Bipartisan API Caucus, as Vice Chair, I want to welcome Your Excellency to our chamber and thank you for your partnership throughout the years. I represent Santa Ana as one of my districts for almost over a decade now, and so we've had great partnership with my office and the Consul General's offices over there, and we want to thank you for your contribution and for coming to California.
Thank you, Senator Nguyen. Senator Block, followed by Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for all you did last year to make our trip to Mexico such a success. And among the folks we met with was our new Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for being with us. And as we discussed yesterday, the new Cross-Border Express in San Diego, for those who haven't been there, you can now walk through a terminal from San Diego to Tijuana Airport and then fly really anywhere in the world at about half the price of flying out of the United States. So, and Senator Hueso was very instrumental in making that happen in San Diego. I urge you all, it is a wonderful symbol of the partnership possibilities we have to be one region, not two countries, but one region that is a world powerhouse. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Senator Block. Senator Lara.
Thank you. Bienvenidos, estimada Your Excellency, queridos embajadores. Bienvenidos al Senado de California, su casa. As a proud son of two Mexican immigrants, a mother from Nayarit, a father from Sinaloa, it's an honor for me to welcome you here and to let you know of the great progress we've made in this California State Senate to protect refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants. We are very proud of the work that we have done to incorporate our immigrant community into our society and to be proud to say that California is not Texas. It's not Mississippi. California embraces our differences, and actually it's what makes us stronger and what makes us the most diverse state in the country and the most powerful state in this country because of the hard work, sweat, and labor of our immigrant community. And this California Senate recognizes it, and you've seen the lengthy legislative agenda that we have to ensure that our immigrants continue to play a pivotal role in our society. And thank you, and bienvenidos de nuevo. Gracias.
Thank you, Senator Lara. Senator De Leon.
Madam President, colleagues, without further ado, Her Excellency Claudia Ruiz Massieu.
Your Excellency.
Honorable Kevin De Leon, President Pro Tem of California State Senate, distinguished members of the California Senate, dear Californian friends and friends of Mexico. It is an honor to stand before you here today in this chamber that embodies the diversity and determination that have made California the state it is today. And to do so on Cinco de Mayo is particularly symbolic, because this is a day we celebrate the brave who 154 years ago decided to take a stand and fight for freedom, for their right to have a life of dignity and a future of opportunities. So there could be no better day to acknowledge our friends and allies in the California Senate that with equal courage and solidarity have spoken up to uphold and protect the fundamental values that the people from Mexico and the American people share. You have acted to empower the millions of Mexicans that have made this state their home. And you have raised your voice to highlight that with their work and with their effort, they contribute daily to the economic growth and social development of California. Nationally, the Mexican-American community generates 8% of the United States GDP and owns over 570,000 companies. In California, a third of all businesses are owned by immigrants and generate over $34 billion every year. We share a history, a cultural heritage, and even blood ties. We're part of a regional and binational community that every day, through trade and commerce, grows more prosperous, and that by making the most of our combined strengths and advantages, becomes also more competitive. Over 30% of California's population is of Mexican descent. Doctors, policemen, agricultural workers, designers and engineers in Silicon Valley, teachers, athletes, business people, soldiers, and even senators. Our common border is not a line that divides us, but a crossing point for talent and dreams, and a place to build shared prosperity. Mexico and the United States trade $1 million every minute of every hour of every day, a bilateral trade of over $500 billion every year, almost 3 times more than what the US trades with South Africa, India, Brazil, and Russia combined. And through our border, 1 million people and over 370,000 vehicles cross legally every day. In the United States, over 6 million jobs depend directly on our commercial ties. We've become so integrated that for every dollar Mexico exports to the United States and to the rest of the world, it has 40% US content. California and Mexico share a 145-mile border, and we are united by 8 entry ports, including the busiest in the world, the Tijuana San Isidro. Every year, 7.5 million Mexican tourists visit California. We are each other's second trading partner, over $65 billion in trade every year. We are becoming increasingly integrated in strategic sectors and chains of value, such as the energy sector and the electronic manufacturing. That means that thousands of jobs in both sides of the border depend on our relationship. In California alone, over 700,000 jobs. In the 21st century, the viability of the American dream will depend on the capacity to build bridges, to embrace others and learn from them, just like this Honorable Senate is doing. I am aware of the responsibility of being the first Mexican Secretary of Foreign Affairs to visit the United States on a Cinco de Mayo, a day in which Mexicans in this country have chosen to celebrate with pride their history and values. It is a good day to remember that our common future depends on each other, that what we share is greater than what divides us. Let us make no mistake and let no one create confusion. Mexico and California, Mexico and the United States are neighbors, allies, and friends. Our unbreakable partnership is indeed based on history, commerce, and prosperity, but above all is based on the unbreakable certainty that we are better and stronger together than we are apart. It is founded on the shared aspiration of the North American region as a region where justice, human dignity, inclusion, and opportunities are accessible to all. Thank you very much, and feliz Cinco de Mayo.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. And welcome to the California State Senate. Thank you all. Mr. Pro Tem, I believe. No. Senator Hall, for what purpose, sir?
Yes, Madam President, privileges of the floor.
Without objection.
Thank you. Madam President, I rise to recognize.
Excuse me, Senator Hall, let's just wait a moment
Yes.
till things quiet down a little bit.
Sure, thank you.
We do have, though, a resolution that I believe Senator De Leon is going to want to take up without reference to file. Of course, we will go to Senator Hall first. One moment.
Senator, is he bringing up a bill? No. Oh, under privileges of the floor, Senator Hall.
Yeah, can you get some order?
Members, it's a little noisy. If we can proceed to the pictures quietly. Senator Hall.
Thank you. Mr. President, I rise to recognize Mr. Gilbert Smith, a true community pioneer from the great 35th Senate District. Mr. Smith was one of the first council members and was the first African-American mayor of the city of Carson. He is also a leading city founder and chaired the formation committee to incorporate the city of Carson. Mayor Smith served the city of Carson for 13 years and led a campaign to bring Cal State University Dominguez Hills to its current location within the district. He is an inspiration that has left a powerful footprint on our community, and his work will never be forgotten. I'd also like to recognize that May 9th is Mr. Smith's birthday, and it is fitting we recognize his day of birth while recognizing the instrumental role he played in the birth of our beloved city of Carson. Please join me in honoring Mayor Gilbert Smith and thanking him for his lifelong service. He's right here in the ballot. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and welcome to the California State Senate.
Under motions, resolutions, Senator De Leon.
Madam President, thank you very much. I request unanimous consent to take up Senate Resolution number 75 without reference to file.
Without objection, that will be the order. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 75 by Senator De Leon relative to the election of members of the Senate Committee on Rules.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I rise to ask for your support for Senate Resolution number 75, which appoints Senator Anthony Cannella as Vice Chair of the Senate Rules Committee, replacing Senator Sharon Runner, and appointing Senator Berryhill to said committee. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, no 0. The motion passes. Colleagues, we are going to move to the consent calendar. Is there anyone who would like to remove anything from that calendar? Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1281, 1360, 1422, 924, 1067, 1121, 1127, 1240, 1399, 1475, 1481, Senate Concurrent Resolution 102, and 111.
That is the consent calendar, colleagues. Is there any objection to substituting the unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, no 0. The consent calendar is adopted. Now is the time, colleagues, for our adjourn in memory. We are returning to motions and resolutions. For those who would like to adjourn in memory, Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that we adjourn in memory today in honor of a constituent and friend, Kathy Lund. Kathy Lund passed away on April 21st of this year after dedicating her life to serving her community. After a 10-year vibrant media career with Channel 13 News, Kathy transitioned to a career as a civil servant. She served the community of Rockland as their council member for 25 years and was the mayor of that great city for 5 years. In addition to her employed service, she also gave back to the community as a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution a Cub Scout den mother, and a teen mom. Kathy is survived by her husband, Jerry, their 2 children, Jeff and Kevin, her 7 grandchildren, and her 2 great-grandchildren. Having met Kathy on numerous occasions, I know her to be a woman who is consistently looking for a better way to help her community that she loved. I ask that we adjourn in her memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gaines, and please extend our condolences to her family. Any other adjourns in the memory? Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. Members, I rise to adjourn in the memory of a good friend and a nationally recognized photojournalist, a peace activist named Bob Fitch, who died this past Friday from complications of Parkinson's disease. Bob Fitch is perhaps best known for his photos of Martin Luther King Jr., Cesar Chavez, Catholic worker Dorothy Day, fathers Daniel and Philip Berrigan, Stokely Carmichael, and Ron Dellums. But his catalog of photos, now a protected archive at the Stanford University, includes mostly images of the nameless civil rights workers in the South and farm workers in California in the Southwest. His photos captured not only the people who marched, but also the most intimate photos of those living in conditions of abject poverty and toiling in backbreaking work. Bob described himself not as a photojournalist, but as an organizer who used a camera to help organize. He won the confidence of Martin and Coretta King, who allowed him access to the most private political and family gatherings. Bob Fitch was the only photographer authorized by Coretta Scott King to take photos at the funeral services of Dr. King in 1968, including the only photo of Martin Luther King Jr. lying in peace in an open casket. Bob had a keen understanding of the dynamics of the civil rights movement and commented that he was enlisted by the Kings to take photos at events where an African-American photographer might have been beaten or killed. He recognized that his white skin gave him some insulation with police and the power structure, but required his total commitment to the cause to win the trust and confidence of those he photographed. One of his most amazing subjects was L. Fondren, a 106-year-old black man born before the Civil War, who Bob photographed as he registered to vote for the first time in Batesville, Mississippi. I met Bob during his years with the United Farm Workers Union, where he captured photos of Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, and others in very public marches and very private meetings, including photos of Cesar as he fasted and lay weakened in a bed in a small room next to the Union Hall at 40 Acres in Delano. After his years with the Union, Bob became a staff member with the Resource Center for Nonviolence in Santa Cruz. In recent years, Bob's photos found a home at Stanford University, and some are currently on exhibit at Cal State University, Monterey Bay. The New York Times ran an extensive obituary yesterday that includes links to some of Bob's most recognized photos. Members, I encourage you to look at that obituary in the New York Times online and look at the catalog of photos posted there. Bob is survived by his partner, Karen Denise Schaefer, his sister, Shelley, children, Nicole, Daniel, and Benjamin, and 2 grandchildren. Members, thank you for joining me as we adjourn in memory of Bob Fitch. Viva Bob Fitch.
Thank you, Senator Monning, and our condolences to his family. Senator Glazer.
Madam President and members, I'd like to ask the Senate to adjourn in memory of Laura Chaponi. Laura Chaponi is the daughter of Louis and Antoinette Chaponi, who are residents of Moraga in my district. Laura died at too young an age, the age of 41, after a long bout with depression. Laura devoted a large part of her life to helping others. She was a therapeutic nutritional chef and a yoga instructor who put great emphasis on restoring her clients' health. She was an accomplished professional photographer, her work a brilliant display of her artistic eye. Laura was a happy child and a top student who played on her high school tennis team and ran track. She was elected homecoming queen, something she hadn't tried or expected to win, but did so because her classmates thought so much of her. As her father said, quote, Laura had that knack of making friends and helping people out. She had much more to give, but depression knows no boundaries, does not discriminate. It can attack the kindest and most accomplished among us. And for some reason, and for some, it can have a terrible consequence. Laura battled depression since she was 20 and told her parents she could no longer endure it. Her parents believe that after years of suffering, Laura is finally at peace. With that, I'd ask that we adjourn in Laura's memory today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Glazer. And if you would make sure you have the name brought to the front desk so we can properly memorialize this effort. Any other adjourn in memory? Seeing none, and if there is no other business before the body, Senator Block, for what purpose, sir?
For purpose of announcement,
Without objection.
Budget Sub 1 will meet in 3191 at 10:45.
Thank you, Senator Block. Senator Mitchell.
For purposes of announcement,
without objection.
Sub 3 will meet in room 4203 at 10:45.
Thank you very much. Senator Hancock.
Sub 5 will meet in room 113 at 10:30.
Senator Roth.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget Subcommittee number 4 will meet in room 2040 at 10:30.
Senator Wolk.
Sub 2 will meet in 112 at 10:30.
I think that takes care of 1 through 5. Senator Monning, it appears the desk is clear. There is no other business.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, stand in recess till Monday. We'll reconvene at 2 p.m. on Monday. 2 p.m. on Monday. Have a good weekend. Drive carefully.
Thank you. Colleagues, the Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Monday at 2 p.m.